Hello everyone and welcome to today's webinar titled Avoiding Costly Wage and Hour Compliance Penalties. My name is Vivek Gopalpuria and I work as a Senior Product Marketing Manager at Replicon. At the outset, I want to thank everyone for taking time out of their busy schedules to join us today. I'm also joined today by my colleague John Rai, who is a Solutions Engineer Expert at Replicon. In today's webinar, we'll be discussing the topic of compliance for time and attendance. We'll look at some of the challenges companies face and how a time and attendance solution like Replicon can mitigate the risk of non-compliance while increasing employee productivity. Today's webinar will feature a short 30-minute format to get information out to you quickly and allow you to get on with the rest of your day. John will spend the majority of the webinar giving you a demonstration of the product. But prior to that, I'll be giving you a brief overview of Replicon. However, before we get started, I wanted to review a few housekeeping items and let you know how you could participate in today's webinar. You'll be kept on mute during the presentation, but you can submit your questions at any time during the presentation on the questions text box located to the right of your screen. Questions will be addressed at the end of the presentation. So without further ado, we'll get started with the presentation. Replicon is the world leader in cloud-based time tracking applications. We are used by organizations across countries, across industry segments to manage time and attendance, projects and programs, professional services organizations, and shared services resources. We are trusted by more than 1.5 users across about 8,000 of our customers with their time tracking needs. We are extremely proud of our customer retention rate. Here are some of our valuable customers. You'll see that there are enterprises from small and medium sizes to really large companies out there. This shows that while we are able to deal with the simple and quick implementations needed by smaller companies, we are able to handle the complexities of processes at larger organizations as well. We work with a lot of finance and HR payroll professionals who say that they spend sleepless nights because of compliance challenges at their organizations. There are a lot of types of compliance keywords that are heard in a normal day of an enterprise. FLSA, FMLA, DCCA, union-related compliance terms, to name a few. Today's webinar will be focused on issues due to non-compliance with labor laws. The first thing about compliance is that it is very common. Almost every organization has an exposure, but not many realize that they can be hit with litigations. As per the Department of Labor, the issue of non-compliance to wage and hour laws is more common than one can imagine. 7 out of 10 enterprises fail to remain compliant to labor laws. The top reasons include overtime payments, misclassification of workers, minimum wage issues, and inaccurate time tracking. And the price tag associated with not being compliant is huge. As per a report by a third-party consulting group, in the last 6 years itself, companies have paid a whopping $2.7 billion to settle wage and hour disputes. And the average fine paid to resolve litigations has been a huge $4.8 million. These are actual hard dollars, and we are not even talking about the loss of credibility and goodwill for organizations. Let us look at how Replicon can automate your time tracking processes and help you with your compliance issues. So automating your time tracking processes with Replicon streamlines the entire time tracking, improving productivity by reducing time spent on cumbersome administrative activities. With our solutions, human intervention reduces, so it effectively lowers compliance risks. It improves data accuracy, it lowers costs of errors, and also lowers cost and efforts needed for an audit. The advanced analytic piece which comes with our solution provides complete visibility into time, resources, and compliance aspects. And these help the functional owners become strategic partners. In short, Replicon helps organizations with accurate time tracking, automating business rules, and helping with audits in case the Department of Labor comes calling, taking the pain out of compliance for organizations. Let's see how our solution helps you deal with compliance issues. Over to you, John.
Thank you. Thanks a lot, Vivek. Now, as Vivek mentioned in his presentation, that any system which needs to be compliant, there are several factors or parameters that drives the solution to be a compliant solution. One of the major ones is user adoption of the flexibility of timesheet. Now, we are looking at one of Replicon's solution, which is mainly used for time attend modules, which is payroll perspective time tracking. And this time attend module allows users to not only fill in time related for the day, but also helps them to go ahead and submit or request time offs. Now, you are currently looking at one of the several formats of timesheet, which is set to be the standard timesheet, where the users can just enter the bulk hours towards a specific task or an activity on which they are working. And these can be configured by an administrator, which could be specific to users. It also captures the number of hours worked on a daily basis and also shows the real-time visibility into the number of regular hours, the overtime hours, the time offs, and also the pay codes that's associated to it. Now, we can also enforce the timesheet based on user adoption to either enter bulk hours towards the activities or capturing the start time and end time based on the day. Now, the solution also gives us the flexibility to send across any comments on a day-to-day basis to the supervisor or a manager or payroll perspective that can be sent across to them. From an end user's perspective, time off tracking is also very flexible. It gives us the intuitive calendar view, and based on the permission that the user is logging in, they would either get to see the entire company's information or just their own information in the time off calendar. This is also like a shared calendar view, which can be based on approval status displayed in color codes, whether it is approved, waiting for approval, or rejected. So it is going to enforce compliance by making sure users get a real-time visibility into their balances, also when they are booking a time off or requesting their time offs, restricting them not to go into a negative balance or making sure that at the end of the year they do not have a negative balance. Now, the accrual calculations or automation of accrual policies can be accounted in the solution, which will be basically set up at the user level, not at the global level. Now, this time off booking interface that you are looking at is more intuitive from an end user's perspective, where they would get to see a trend of the time off bookings that they have submitted in the solution so far for the past 12 months. Now, both from the time off and the timesheet perspective, when the users go ahead and submit this information, the system allows you to set up a workflow process. So that is another parameter that drives compliance. Any organization would need to monitor or supervise the timesheets or time offs that has been submitted. So the team section is a view that allows supervisors or managers to review or monitor their team members' timesheet as well as their time off information. It gives the capability to configure dashboards wherein they can choose the column or information they would like to track over here. They can also drill down to any specific team member's timesheet and get to see more detailed information related to that particular timesheet period, which shows me the exact hours that has been logged against different activities and any comments. And post reviewing it, being a supervisor, they can either approve or reject it. Whatever my response is, that is either reject or approve, again, it triggers an email. So basically, email notifications are triggered at every step of this workflow. That is when a user submits a timesheet or a time off request, approvers approving it or rejecting it email gets going back to the users. It also gives a real-time dashboard view or visibility into their team members' timesheet information, where I, as a supervisor, can track to see who within my team has not submitted their timesheets or the timesheet that's waiting for my approval, etc. Now, from a time off perspective, as a supervisor, I can also get to see a calendar where by default it is showing me my team members' information. So this can be like a view where I can see the staffing for the day and also make sure that I have enough people working for that current day and not too many people taking sick or vacation. Real-time team balance information is where I can see how my employees can plan their vacation or sick leave, etc. Now, this particular time of calendar that a supervisor would get to see can be electronically transferred and synchronized on a real-time basis with any of their web-based calendar like Outlook, Google, as well as Apple's iCal feed. Now, from a payroll perspective, that is a payroll administrator, they also have a part of compliance over here. That is, from a high-level administration perspective, they would need to monitor from an organizational level who has not submitted their timesheet or the timesheet that has not been approved by the supervisor on time. And they can make sure that the timesheets have been processed to the payroll and paychecks have been processed on time. At any point of time, they can use the dashboard views to filter based on people who has not submitted or people's timesheet that are overdue, and all that information can be tracked in Replicon. Now, all these information that is tracked within Replicon can be pushed into any third-party payroll solution like ADP, Ceridian, or Paychex, and that can be done through the Export tab. This is one of the methods that allows data to be pushed out of Replicon, that is in a CSV format or a flat file transfer, and the other is through reports. Now, the reporting engine is Replicon is quite robust. It gives you the flexibility to create your own customized or ad hoc reports from scratch by clicking on the new report link, or I can choose to configure or modify any of the canned reports which is available out of the box in the solution. For example, let's take the report pay code details report by day, which shows you the time that has been entered by the employees on a daily basis for any specified date range or the period that I have selected, and accordingly it shows me the pay code associated to those hours that has been logged by the users. At no point of time any report in Replicon is static. All reports are dynamic in nature, which means that it allows you to configure it the way you would want to see. For example, if I want to add more columns or track more data in the report, I can choose it from the list, or I can choose it from the settings option. And within this list, it allows me to pick and choose the data pointers as per the requirement. And it also allows me to create a calculated value, like setting up a formula which is Excel-based using logical conditions or operators. Now let us take another example of the timesheet audit trail report, which is a very good report to make sure that the users are not making any modifications or changes in the timesheet, so that any leakage or any leakage can be restricted, and it also ensures or drives compliance. Now, this timesheet audit trail report that is generated, it shows the entire details of the action that has been performed on the timesheet, not only from an end user's perspective, but also from a supervisor, or let's say from a payroll manager's perspective, and they can go as detailed as they want to. Now, all reports in Replicon can be pushed out in raw format, that is in Excel or CSV, and this is another method of pushing data out of Replicon that can be used in any payroll solution. Reports can also be automated, where these reports, where they can be scheduled on a time period to specific users in a format that you desire. So you can completely automate the process of sending out the reports by selecting a recurring event with the intended recipients and the format that you would desire. So once it is scheduled, it would be sent out to the intended people on a recurring basis.
Again, Replicon is the world leader in cloud-based time tracking solutions, and we are used by organizations across countries to manage time and attendance for compliance and payroll, projects and programs, their professional services organizations to bill clients, and shared services resources. Coming to compliance, Replicon is able to help organizations with accurate time tracking, automating business rules to stay compliant, and help with audit in case the Department of Labor comes calling, taking the pain out of compliance for organizations. If you want to know more information about Replicon, you can contact us at the above email ID. We again thank you for your time and have a great day.